So, we got this quote unquote rally today of this VP pick, and Laura Ingraham, you don't have to like her, you don't have to like Hannity, you don't have to like Jesse, you don't have to like Fox News. Okay, it doesn't matter. I watch these shows because all the people I just mentioned are in the Q drops as people that Q kind of gives little nudges to, and they bang off the Q board from time to time. And Laura Ingraham was talking about this rally today, and she just kind of puts a real emphasis on a particular word. So we're going to play that, and then we're going to play what she says after that.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. My angle in moments. But first, late today and into the evening, a storm of propaganda rained down in Philadelphia. And it's trying to make you forget the damage that the Biden-Harris team has done to America and instead bathe you in the energy of the moment. Feel the vibes because Kamala's pals are all fired up.
Don't let Trump the trickster take our eyes off the prize. We have to remember that there is nothing that is more important than electing the Harris-Walz team and sending them where they belong. The 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We are for the working class, and that we support organized labor. That we paid attention to your work in Minnesota. Free college tuition for low-income students. Protections for the LGBT community.
Well, it was loud, I'll give you that. And they even dragged out poor old Senator Bob Casey. You never hear from him when you really need to hear from him on an issue, but when he's running for re-election, occasionally he pops out. And he's still dining out on Daddy's name.
So she had that really, really big emphasis on the word storm, threw her hands out and said the word with a big emphasis, storm. So kind of had a little the calm before the storm about this whole Q movement and really where we're all going here from this point forward into the November election. Okay, so that's really what I think she was highlighting. I stopped the freeze camera when she was saying the word storm like that. She even has something a little more interesting to say after that. But Abs, anything to add before we jump in the next one?
Yeah, she's in the running for throwing out as many comms over the last few months as Jesse Waters. It's been pretty ridiculous. And a reminder for everybody out there that she's literally the one that popped on the 4chan to say, "Hey, make sure you're watching tonight," and then pinged off what she said. So she's definitely somebody to watch and pay attention to. And the storm. I mean, she may well have like just stood up and started like waving down helicopters with that, man. That was pretty obvious, but it's not nearly as good as what we're about to play. So we can go ahead and roll that unless you got more you want to say, man.
No, let's rock.
55% of the country say we're going in the wrong direction. 48% of the country says they, don't have money for an emergency. Okay, but the middle class is doing great. Joining me now, Caroline Levitt, Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. Caroline, this was like watching something from Alice in Wonder. We're looking through the looking glass tonight.
Can you say that again? Just the way you said it.
55% of the country say we're going in the wrong direction. 48% of the country says they, don't have money for an emergency. Okay, but the middle class is doing great. Joining me now, Caroline Levitt, Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. Caroline, this was like watching something from Alice in Wonder. We're looking through the looking glass tonight.
All right, so she started to say Alice in Wonderland, which bangs off the keyboard, particularly towards Hillary Clinton, which I tend to think that's where all this is going to go. So a little wink and a nod towards, Alice in Wonderland / Hillary Clinton, but specifically mentions Project Looking Glass, which, Abs did some things about that. But what I wanted to point out about Project Looking Glass when Q pointed to it on Q 3585, it happened to be on November 11th, 2019, when Q pointed to this. And the link was Anon had looked at the IP address that the Q board was on with the Chans and linked it back to an IP address over at the Department of Defense. Okay. And Q put 11.11.18 a couple of times in the queues, So you kind of think about code and IP addresses, how they look. It has those kind of, instead of slashes, Q put dots. And so that's what had Anand's thinking about it at the time. So this person connected it, and Q confirmed it with, do you believe in coincidences and all that? But Q came back, that 11.11.18 Q said America will be unified again. And obviously we haven't gotten there yet. So my personal belief is whatever happens this coming November, there's probably going to be some really, really wild stuff, from probably just prior to November 5th through November 5th, after November 5th for a bit. And then we're going to start to see a unification November 11th, 2024. Just what I personally think. Not saying it's going to play out that way. I'm not on Q team. I don't know for sure. But we had all this lining up, and we got this big time election coming this November. So wouldn't be surprised if all that gets connected up, and then Ingraham just threw in Looking Glass right in there for us as well.
The Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.